All right, the last topic that we're going to cover, which we will cover in about 6 or 7 lessons, has to do with converting units of measure. We will convert units of measure in the U.S. system, in the metric system, and we will do them for length, for weight or mass, and for capacity. And we'll do one lesson between the two systems. It would be helpful for you to go ahead and write down these facts, that 12 inches is a foot, that 3 feet is a yard, 36 inches is also a yard, or 5,280 feet is a mile. So it'll be good if you have those written down because you'll be using them. We're going to use a unit cancellation method. And in this method, it might seem a little odd, but we're going to multiply a given quantity by 1. And I know that you realize that when you multiply by 1, it's the identity, so no value changes. Now, 1 can take on several different forms. Well, it can take on an infinite number of forms. It could be 5 over 5 or 9 over 9. It could even involve labels. It could be 12 inches over 12 inches. All of those are equal to 1. Something you might not think about is that any one of these facts could be turned into the number 1. For instance, I could have 12 inches over 1 foot, and that's equal to 1. I could also have 1 foot over 12 inches. That's equal to 1. I could have 3 feet over 1 yard, and that's equal to 1. So we'll be taking these facts and turning them into fractions that are equal to 1. So let's look at how we're going to use that. Convert the measure as indicated. Now, I certainly understand that there are some of these, maybe all of these, that you could do in your head and you could do very, very quickly. But what I'm trying to teach you is a process. So please try to use this process. It can be very, very helpful if you end up taking a chemistry or a pharmacology or a physics class someday. All right, when you're going to do a conversion, inches to feet, the first thing you have to do is identify the fact, and the fact is that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. All right, now we're going to start with the given quantity, 24 inches. We're going to multiply it by a fraction equal to 1 made up of this fact. Now, if I'm going to multiply by a fraction, then this needs to be a fraction, so I'm going to put it over 1. Now, does it matter how I set this up? Well, it does. Because of bow tying, canceling, reducing, I want inches to be on a diagonal from these 24 inches. That tells me that I have to put the 12 inches of the fact on the bottom. That leaves 1 foot to be on top. All right, I multiplied by 1. Now what happens? Well, inches divide out. The number 12 goes in there once and 12 goes in there 2 times. So that is gone. What do I have left? I have 2 times 1 and it's feet. So it is 2 feet. It's over 1 and I don't write over 1. I know that you probably already knew 24 inches was 2 feet. This is a process. All right, let's look at the next one. I have 12 inches turned into feet. All right, first thing I need to do is identify the fact. The fact is that there are, I think I said that wrong, 12 yards to feet. That there are 3 feet in 1 yard. That's the fact that joins those two. I start with the given quantity, 12 yards. I'm going to multiply it by a fraction, so I need it to be a fraction. I'm going to take this fact. I want yards to cancel out, so yards needs to go on bottom. That means that 3 feet has to go on top. It's equal to 1. The yards cancel out, so I must be doing this right. Multiply what I have left. I have 36. The only unit left is feet. That's what I wanted. I'm done. Let's look at the next one. 42,240 feet to miles. All right, feet to miles, the fact. The fact is that there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. Start with the given quantity, 42,240 feet. I'm going to multiply it by a fraction, so I need it to be a fraction. When I change this fact into a fraction equal to 1, what goes on top, what goes on bottom? Well, I need feet to cancel out, so I need 5280 in the feet on bottom. That leaves 1 mile on top, and the feet cancel, and I can check 42,240 divided by 5280 just to see if it goes in there evenly. And it does. It goes in there once, goes in there 8 times, and I am left with 8 miles. Some of you may have learned a method that said sometimes you multiply and sometimes you divide. You don't have to do that. I wish you wouldn't do that. Instead, if the number other than 1 shows up on bottom, you'll do some division. If the number other than 1 shows up on top, you'll do some multiplication, and you don't have to worry about it. All right, number 4. 8.5 feet to inches. All right, let's see what we've got. The fact. Well, the fact is that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So I start with 8.5 feet. Because I'm going to multiply that by a fraction, I need that to change into an improper fraction. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 1 is 17 over 2, and the feet are on top because I need it as a fraction. I'm going to multiply it by this fact turned into a fraction. I want feet to go away, so feet need to be on bottom, 1 foot, and 12 inches on top. I know I've chosen the right thing because the feet are gone. 2 goes in there once, 2 goes in there 6 times. I take 17 times 6, and I get 102 what's left inches, and that's what I wanted. All right, the last one. I have miles to feet. All right, what's the fact? The fact is that there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So I have 5.2 miles. I'm going to multiply it. I'm just going to leave it in decimal form. That might be considered a little unorthodox, but it really works out fine in this process. Put it over 1. I want miles to go away. So from my fact, I put 1 mile on bottom. I put 5,280 feet on top. I know I must be doing it right because the miles have canceled out. With my calculator, 5.2 times 5280, and I get 27,456. The only thing left is feet. That's what I wanted. This process can be extremely helpful to you in science classes. So even if you could do some of these problems in your head, I hope that maybe you're willing to try this method that involves taking a fact and turning it into a fraction that's equal to 1, and making the units cancel out that you want to get rid of, leaving behind the units that you want to change into. We'll do this same process anytime we're using the US system of measure.